Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode of Smart Outsourcing Talks. And today we have our guest, Loren Fogelman. Uh, Loren, welcome to this show.
Oh, thank you so much. I am looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah. And to give you an introduction of Loren, Loren is the founder of Business Success Solutions and has been recognized by HubSpot in its annual list of world's top 22 business coaches. She is an expert in pricing strategy and sales, and she coaches accounting firm owners to shift away from the dollar per hour business model to a value based pricing and model that reduces workload as much as 50% while you can double your revenues. Lauren delivers talks and workshops at major accounting conferences such as AccountX, Scaling New Heights, and many more. She regularly contributes to Intuit's Firm of the Future series, CPA Leadership Institute, CPA Academy, and she's also an author of two amazing Amazon best-selling books, The Winning Point, How to Master the Mindset of Champions, and The Success Solutions, Breakthrough Limiting Beliefs for Business Success. So, Lauren, a lot of accolades, and I'm sure the viewers are going to be happy with this conversation to have you here. So, uh, let me start with maybe I have introduced you, but would you like to say something more about yourself to start with?
No, you actually got it all covered. The only other thing I would say is that I have come from a family of accountants, and I
Okay.
have seen over the years how long how hard they work, and that so often their pricing doesn't reflect the value of the
Mm,
work that they do. And that's really my mission is to be able to have firm owners get paid services that reflect the value of services that they deliver to their clients so that it's not connected to time any longer.
mm, right. And so, how did this entire journey of business coaching started? And before I come to specific on pricing strategy.
Mhm. Basically, I'm a sports psychologist turned business coach. And what
Oh,
I found is that there's a lot of similarities between athletes and business owners. And that uh, for me, it was really about looking what was the best fit. I ended up having two businesses, the sports psychology as well as the business coaching. And I burned out from having two businesses, but it was when I saw the sacrifices that my family made, where I wasn't home for family dinners, I was
mm,
working over the weekends, that I
mm,
knew something needed to change. And I put the sports psychology on a back burner. And that's when I devoted all my attention to the business coaching.
mm. That's wonderful. It's hard to find this way. A psychologist,
Mhm.
moving to business coaching. So Lauren, what do you see? How these two things are related.
Well, what I believe is that there's a lot of similarities actually between athletes and growth minded business owners. And some of the things is that we're both aiming for specific numbers.
Mm,
We are also looking to be the best that we could possibly be. And that sometimes there's this perfectionism of wanting to
mm,
be able to do it in a very high quality way, and we can never meet our standards. So there's a feeling sometimes that we're never good enough, but that
mm,
we really strive to be able to make a difference for somebody else, make that impact. And
mm,
some of the differences that I also see is that athletes from the very beginning as peewees, when they first start out, have somebody on the outside that is guiding them, giving them feedback, helping them to strategically make some changes in order to be able to achieve their top performance as quickly as possible. Whereas firm owners tend to be driven to help their clients, but a lot of times it's very, very difficult to ask for help. So they can achieve having success in their firms too, but it might
mm,
take a little bit longer because they're figuring it out themselves through trial and error. And sometimes they're second guessing a decision if it's not
mm,
traditional. And
mm,
as a result, they end up having frustrations, burnout, and
mm,
also lack of boundaries sometimes. So that's what I
mm.
see, is that there's a lot of similarities, but the difference is that athletes get that help from the very beginning, whereas firm
Mm.
owners try to navigate that path on their own a lot of times.
And when we talk about athletes and whoever goes into the professional sports, having a coach is just given, right? You don't even have to think, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but what are the challenges that you find? Because not many accounting firm owners look out for coaches, right? So, how do you bridge this gap?
Well, part of the way that I bridge the gap is I really believe in educating others about what's going on. So sometimes they know that they have a problem, but they don't really have the right words to be able
Mm,
to ask for help, or don't know how to be able to express it. So one of the things is that they sometimes hit a plateau where something has to change. It's not sustainable any longer. They
mm,
just don't know how to do it. Pricing, which is what I focus on with firm owners, tends to
mm,
be something where they know that they ought to be charging more, but they just
mm,
don't know how to do it
mm,
because everybody else is just doing a small 5% increase. So that's what they think that they ought to be doing. And
mm,
if they do raise their rates, they tend to do it with newer clients coming in, and then they leave
mm,
their older legacy clients untouched because they
mm,
don't want to rock the boat. So
mm,
as a result, they are actually having lower profit margins than what they could, and it affects
mm,
their earning potential. So they wait
mm,
too long. They don't know how to make the change. They're afraid of clients leaving if they do raise their rates.
mm,
And that actually isn't accurate whatsoever. Do you mind if I
mm.
give an example, Manoj, of
Yeah, please. Yeah.
uh, okay. I was just speaking with one of my clients yesterday. Her name is Carmen. And we started working together right before tax season, around
Mm,
beginning of November. She has a tax firm.
mm,
And she wanted to be able to make changes before tax season started. So
mm,
she wanted to be able to let them know in her engagement letter about the new changes. So we got to
mm,
work, we rolled up our sleeves, and
mm,
we went ahead and we packaged her services instead of having the line item invoices. So she no longer
mm,
needed to track her time. We
mm,
were able to come up with a client letter that explained the changes that she was making in her
mm,
firm, and
mm,
we also changed from after the fact invoicing payment model, where she was
mm,
billing everybody, to a prepayment model. So three
mm,
changes. We priced her services differently, and we
mm,
packaged them, and we
mm,
went from invoice to prepayment. She was shaking her boots when she sent out that letter to her client. So she did all
mm,
this by email.
mm,
And she ended up having 90% of her clients retain her services, which was more
mm,
than what she expected.
mm.
She increased her fees across the board with her clients by 60%. So a
Oh,
90%
wow.
retention rate and a
Mm,
60% increase in fees. Plus, she took on 30 new clients during tax season at her new rates into her new packages. So this is not a
oh, this
long,
is
painful,
wow,
drawn out process.
Yeah, yeah.
And the revenues that she made because we did this paid for our work together.
Mm,
So this was something that was an investment, because now she can do it over and over and over again. It's like compounding
mm,
interest,
mm,
as opposed to a cost. So I just want to say it's not a painful, long, drawn out process. We can do
mm.
this very quickly so that you can make those changes in your firm.
Yeah. Can you just give me one example of, how the pricing was before and, when you suggested, what it changed to, maybe if any, one of the services.
Sure. If we look at a very simple tax return for someone who is a W-2, so they're employed, they
Mm,
don't have any
mm,
investments.
mm.
Just an example, and I don't have her numbers right in front of me,
Sure.
but
Mm,
we were able to get from her minimum being maybe
mm,
$195 for a tax return,
mm,
uh, to now her minimum is $500 for a tax return. So
mm,
that's an example of what we did because
mm,
it wasn't necessarily based on how long it takes her.
mm,
It's based on the fact that she has the expertise to do it correctly for them and accurately
mm,
and get
mm.
it done on time.
So positioning was different. The communication was different.
It really came down to the communication and the value. And
Mm,
I don't
mm,
know about anybody listening to us, but she
mm.
even mentioned in our conversation that she had clients telling her that she was undercharging for her services, and
Oh,
she didn't even know how to
you
fix it.
know,
So
and she was feeling other way around, right? If she raises the price, then there could be a
She
client loss.
she she had a lot of fear, and when we
Mm,
talked about how long she was thinking about it,
mm,
she wasn't thinking about it for, like, weeks or months, she was thinking about doing this for a couple of years. So for
mm,
every year that she didn't implement this new pricing model was
mm,
leaving money on the table. It
mm,
was a cost to her,
mm.
and it also meant that she had to work a lot of hours to be able to bring in the revenue that she needed for, keeping her business moving forward as well as
Mm.
meeting her personal financial responsibilities.
In fact, Lauren, 2 weeks back, I was having one podcast, and we were looking at what are the key challenges that any accounting firm owners was facing, and I think it was Dawn and she said the major key challenge was the pricing.
Mhm.
Okay, because most of the people feel, firm owners feels that they can't do anything about the pricing because they are too fearful to change that. It's very sensitive. So, what is your practical advice as to some of the firm owners may realize that, okay, I need to change, but they are hesitating to change. So, what should be that first step? How do they prepare or get that
Mhm.
mindset to change the pricing?
Um, I want to first say it isn't about confidence. You're not going to have the confidence to do it because you hadn't done it yet. It takes
Mm,
courage to do something differently than you've been doing up
mm,
until this point and try
mm,
something new. But
mm,
you have the courage because you know that what you're doing isn't effective any longer and it's
mm,
not sustainable. You're burning out,
mm,
you're
mm,
resentful,
mm,
other things are coming up.
mm,
You're giving services away for free without compensation.
mm,
And this is and I have a process. I'm going to share the exact process on
mm,
how to be able to make the transition from hourly rates over to value pricing,
mm,
so that if you want to do this, you can get started right away.
mm,
I call it my good, better, best pricing model.
mm,
And what you want to do is have when new people are coming to you, come up with that original fixed fee that you would have been charging them. And what we
mm,
want to do now is multiply it by 1.5. That's going to be
mm,
your new good rate you're going to put
mm,
in your proposal to this client.
mm,
And
mm,
I want you to enroll 3 new clients at that new good rate, which is 1.5 times higher than what you originally would have put in your proposal. That
mm,
as you enroll these 3 new clients, you're getting some evidence that people aren't quite as price sensitive
mm,
as you thought they were.
mm,
After
mm,
that, we go to tier 2, which is your new better
mm,
rate. Once
mm,
again, people will be coming to you and come up with that original flat fee you would be charging and now
mm,
multiply it by 2x. That
mm,
means you're now charging double what you originally would have charged, no additional time spent working.
mm,
Once again, I want you to enroll 3 new people at your
mm,
new better rate, and
mm,
you realize that you're now working with a better client. You're getting better
mm,
at having the conversation around value and what
mm,
questions that they might have coming up as to why
mm,
they ought to pay you these fees.
mm,
After you enroll those 3 new clients, go to the top tier, which will be a new best rate.
mm.
Once again, people will be coming to you, calculate how much you originally would have charged. Now we're going to multiply it by 3x.
Oh,
That
mm,
means you're now earning 3 times more than what you originally would have been charging. No
mm,
additional time spent working. But
mm,
because of this, you're now working with a higher quality client that's
mm,
not price sensitive. It
mm,
means that you don't need to work as many hours to meet your revenue needs. You get to
mm,
take back some of your time and you can put that extra time into business development, building out advisory services, or maybe just taking back some of that personal time for self care.
mm,
So
Sure.
that's how you start to shift away from
Mm,
time-based fees, whether it's a fixed
mm,
fee or an hourly rate,
mm,
over to value pricing, is by
mm.
going through this good, better, best pricing model.
Sure. And what are the key differences, when we speak about hourly rates versus a value-based pricing, um,
Mhm. The key differences between hourly and value-based pricing is the way that you're looking at it. With
mm,
an hourly rate, you're putting your needs before your clients. Now, you're a client-centered firm owner. I know that about you. But when
mm,
you're looking at how to price your services, you're flipping it and you're thinking about you. You're looking at your time, your operational costs. Then you're coming up with maybe a price. Then you're thinking about what is the value to the client out of doing these services and
mm,
maybe the client's willingness to pay. So
mm,
that is the structure for hourly or time-based fees. Now, when we
mm,
look at value pricing, we're going to flip that whole
mm,
equation. We're going to think about what is the client's possible willingness to pay for moving
mm,
forward with your firm? What is
mm,
the benefits and the value that they will get from working with your firm and engaging your services? What is the
mm,
price you want to charge them based on that? And then you're looking at your operational costs and how
mm,
much time you think the work is going to take. So
mm,
it's all the same variables that we're looking at, but we're
mm,
flipping the equation when we're looking
mm,
at value-based pricing compared to
mm.
time-based fees.
And how do you arrive at the value-based pricing? So is there any model or is there any equation or is there any formula to arrive at that for accounting firm owners?
It's messy. I just want to say that.
Mm,
The reason that firm owners love to charge for their time is because it's a formula. It seems logical.
yeah.
So
Mm,
they come up with an hourly fee, they calculate how
mm,
many hours, and then they go ahead and
mm.
invoice for that
Quote,
amount of
yeah.
time.
Mm, mm,
However, I know a lot of firm owners who do work without compensation, or they
mm,
look at the total on an invoice and they think my client will never pay that much, and they're already
mm,
discounting it before they ever
mm,
send out the invoice.
mm,
So even though it looks like or they hate tracking time and then they have to
mm,
recreate it because they didn't
mm,
really calculate track how much
mm,
time they spent on something. So
mm,
there's flaws in the time-based tracking. With the
mm,
value pricing, what you need to do is separate your fees from time and task. You
mm,
want to go ahead and package your services, and
mm,
each of your, and I suggest three packages for simplification. I call them silver, gold, and diamond.
mm,
And then you want to look at what is the solution that each package meets and who
mm,
does it serve.
mm,
So, silver package is going to be just the essentials. If we're
mm,
talking about bookkeeping, it's going to
mm.
be having end of month their financials done at the end of the month. They're
Yeah.
going to be closing
Mm,
everything out. It'll all be
mm,
reconciled. They're going to have
mm,
tax ready books. That's really the basic
mm.
of the silver.
Sure. Mm,
Um,
mm,
the gold will be for business owners who want additional insights so they can be making better decisions as
mm,
their business continues to grow and evolve. And then the
mm,
diamond might be for someone who wants outsourced CFO level services.
mm,
So you're looking at the benefits and what type of client might fit into each one. And then we're
mm,
coming up with pricing based on that.
mm, mm,
So it's a little bit messier. And what I
mm,
find is that the mistake a lot of firm owners make when they move in this direction with packages is they still are
mm,
calculating how much time they think something is going to take by their hourly rate and then coming up
mm,
with a fee for each package. And when
mm.
you do that, you're leaving money on the table. You can actually
Yeah.
charge more than
Yeah.
that. You
Mm,
just don't know how to do that. And like I said, it's kind of messy. So we need to come up with
yeah.
a baseline price and then realize that the price might adjust based on the person that
Mm,
you're speaking with and where they're
mm,
at and the value to them.
mm. Yeah. And what do you suggest? So, is there? I mean, when you have been doing as a firm owner, you have been doing business for a long years, and you have clients who are there from a long time. and suddenly if you start shifting the pricing, and that's why people get little scared about that, right? Um, so when you have a legacy business in place, how do you move to the new pricing? So you change
Mhm.
everything at one go, or you change in phases, or you just change for new clients? How do you recommend to go about that?
Mhm. It depends on the firm owner. With some of them, like Carmen that I talked about, we did
Mm.
all this in just under 90 days because
Oh, wow.
we met in October. We started in
Mm,
November. She needed to
mm,
get her engagement letter
mm,
out before tax season. So
mm,
we did this very, very quickly. And she did
mm,
it all by email. But we worked
mm,
very closely together to put all the structure in place. With other
mm,
business owners, it's a little bit of a more drawn out process because they would rather have a conversation with their clients
mm,
about the changes that they're making. So,
mm,
what I would say is that it depends on your firm. If your firm has capacity to grow and
mm,
you're accepting new clients, I would suggest rolling out this new pricing model to new clients first. And
mm,
then, as you're getting used to having these conversations and talking about the packages, then we go back to your legacy clients and get them transitioned to this new business model so
mm,
that everybody will eventually be on the same business model. If you're at
mm,
capacity and not accepting new clients, then we go to your current clients and get them transitioned to this
mm,
new business model. And as capacity opens up, you will be
mm,
bringing new clients in at this current business model. I would
mm,
say 75% of my clients are rolling this out to new clients first because they
mm,
have
mm,
capacity for growth. The other
mm,
25% who are maxed out, we're doing
mm,
this with their legacy clients, and
mm,
then they can start to transition new clients into this model.
mm. Yeah, great. And what do you think? What are the internal changes that you need to do for when you change the pricing? Because say, for example, if somebody is running um, for somebody is running this business for a long time and they are used to tracking the hours, and now suddenly that goes away. So what are those internal changes they have to do when they move to this value-based pricing?
Well, one of the things that I actually suggest looking at is how to be now more efficient in order to be able to increase the value of a client and to
Mm,
be able to get your time back. Because when you're connecting your fees to your time, then you're
mm,
focusing on tasks and workflow.
mm,
When
mm,
we are looking at value-based pricing, we're looking at outcomes, but we're
mm,
also pricing for your expertise of knowing how to deliver that. So
mm,
there's benefits to efficiencies. This
mm,
means that maybe you want to bring in somebody to help you out with lower level tasks so that you can now focus more on the
mm,
higher value advisement or
mm,
implementation of
mm,
projects.
mm,
It could be also that you are adding in more automation, whether it's
mm,
AI or investing in software solutions to
mm,
be able to be more efficient with things that you were previously doing manually.
mm,
And the last part is even if you are a solo firm owner, making the mindset shift from being self employed to being the
mm,
CEO of your business.
mm.
That means that you're now
Yeah.
taking charge of your business instead of
Mm,
having your business run you. You don't need to say yes to all requests. You don't need to accept all clients who are reaching out to you. You want to be
mm,
very specific about who that is. And
mm,
you also want to maybe look at some of the day-to-day operations, which are lower level tasks, getting them off of your plate so you can
mm.
focus on business development.
Yeah. And so I mean, um, at FinSmart, a lot of our customers,
Mhm.
they tell us this, that by offshoring to you guys, the repetitive task, now they have got a lot of time on their hand to
Mhm.
develop a customer relationships, or do a highly billable or advisory, which they were just burnt out just doing the regular stuff, right? So in a way, do you see that uh, that people are looking at ways in which they can increase their capacity. Maybe offshoring is of course one solution, automation is second. So
Mhm.
what's your view on that?
I I believe that there's a couple things to look at. Definitely, staffing solutions, whether it's onshore or offshore, both are options. Some people don't feel
Hmm,
comfortable going offshore yet,
hmm,
so they're looking at maybe engaging someone onshore.
hmm,
The other part is looking at AI or software solutions to take. When you're looking at that, you want to think about whether it's you or someone on your team, how much
hmm,
are they touching a keyboard? If they're
hmm.
touching a keyboard, most likely there is a
This is
slight
absolutely brilliant point.
right?
We never thought about this. How much you are touching a keyboard? Well,
How
very good.
much time are you touching a keyboard? That means that you're doing tasks. So there's usually an AI solution, or most likely there will eventually be one for
Hmm,
that manual task. So we want to
hmm,
be able to look at that. The other thing that I look at is maybe what is it that you're offering because it was requested and you grew your firm organically that
okay.
really isn't a
Hmm,
benefit to being offered. Maybe
hmm,
you're a bookkeeping firm and you're doing payroll, but payroll isn't that profitable and it's very,
hmm,
very time paced and there's
hmm,
liabilities. So
hmm,
maybe we want to remove payroll from your list of services. Or
hmm,
it's possible that you're a tax firm and you think you need to offer bookkeeping also, but you don't like
hmm,
bookkeeping. So,
hmm,
how do you be able to make that transition? Is it an offshoring
hmm,
solution? Is it something that you maybe eliminate from your services? So those
hmm,
are some of the things that we look at is what needs to be delegated,
hmm,
where there is maybe a software solution so that you're
hmm,
doing less time on manual tasks. And
hmm,
then are there things that you're offering right now in your services that
hmm,
aren't aligned with the path that you want to take your firm? So we're creating some
hmm,
boundaries.
hmm. And how do you look at the cost? So when you look at the new pricing, or maybe how do you look at the profit per client? So how do you measure this?
It depends once again on the firm, because different firms have different workflows. One client, she is looking at her clients on average being 75% profit margin or more. We have some that are
Hmm,
even at 90% profit margin.
hmm,
With other firms, we're looking at getting them up to maybe 30% profit margin. One of the things to look at is when you have time-based pricing, then this is the pyramid of profit margin. You're looking at all of your services and all the things that you're doing for operational costs, and then your profit margin is a little bit at the
yeah.
top,
Hmm,
maybe 20%. But
hmm.
when you are looking at value-based pricing, we flip the pyramid
This
to
is very
where
good. Hmm,
now you're
hmm,
going to be
hmm,
highly profitable. And then look at your operational costs and the cost of doing the work for the client. So it
hmm,
flips the equation, and the more efficient you are, the more
hmm,
profitable the client is, which means that we're raising the lifetime value of a client.
hmm. This is absolutely brilliant point. Flipping the triangle, right? So
Yeah, let me tell you, it is a beautiful
ah,
thing. I mean,
hmm,
maybe 90% sounds like a dream for some people, and it's never gonna
hmm,
happen based on their fees.
hmm,
But this person
hmm,
had really low fees also when
hmm,
we first
hmm,
started working together.
hmm, hmm,
And we've been able to flip it because of some of the efficiencies and processes that we put in
hmm.
place.
Mm. So, Lauren, share a couple of your customer stories. I mean, at FinSmart, we have lot, because um, um, when we talk to our customers who has been here for us for a couple of years and few years and stuff like that, and they said, when we were going to start, there was so many apprehensions that how this offshoring would
Mhm,
work, or going cross borders and stuff like that. And they just said that after a couple of years or couple of months, they say, I don't know why I was waiting for, because there's a tremendous value created out there in terms of
mhm,
the cost efficiency. um, why I'm saying to this is because even the pricing is the similar thing. People have a lot of
Mhm.
apprehensions before they start.
Yes,
So
yes,
I want
yes.
to hear a couple of customer stories that, how they feel after a couple of months or years when they've done it.
Yeah. Before I do that, I actually want to talk a little bit about offshoring because it is a
Mm,
solution and it's a very
mm,
viable one.
mm, mm,
I just want to say, as a firm owner, you don't scale by doing more yourself. You
mm,
create systems, and the systems give you freedom. And a lot
mm,
of firm owners think, well, I need to create my systems before I can use an
mm,
offshore solution. And
mm,
I've
mm.
seen where the offshore solutions actually help you create the systems. You
Yeah.
don't need to
Mm,
have them all in place first. The other
mm,
thing, and this is probably the main thing, is security is a real concern.
mm,
And my feeling is that a lot of times offshore agencies have tighter security measures in place that are compliant
mm.
than if you were to hire someone that was working from home onshore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So security tends to be very, very tight when you're working with an offshore agency because they know that that's one of the
Yeah. Yeah.
main
Mm,
things that there's pushback on.
yeah.
And the other thing I want to say is that maybe there's concerns about quality. And
Mm,
if that's a concern, then look at the fact a lot of times with offshoring, not only are you engaging that particular position, but you're also engaging the manager over that position who's doing oversight before the work comes to
mm,
you.
mm,
So if there's a problem with quality, then it's probably a communication issue. And
mm.
there needs to be better systems and communication in place in order to be able to resolve that, just like that would be happening if you had someone onshore working with you. So
And in
I just
fact,
want
lot of our clients says that in terms of quality and especially efficiency, they say that
to.
I mean we have a center in India, but they say India, Philippines, they are far more efficient than somebody who you can find in US.
Hmm.
In terms of the similar, bookkeepers or maybe accountants. So that's the feedback we are getting.
Hmm. And the other thing to recognize is that there's cultural differences,
Yeah.
and it's about gaining awareness about some of the
Mm,
cultural differences on both sides, so that
mm,
there's respect. But there's
yeah.
evidence that having diversity in your firm benefits
Mm,
your firm and makes for a healthier firm.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
So, what I was asking is that, do you have a customer stories to share? Because,
mhm. Yeah. In
because they
addition to
would be
comments,
apprehensive. Yeah, they would be
yeah.
apprehensive about changing. And after that, what are their feedbacks?
So the first thing, if you want to hear some people actually sharing their own stories, you can go to my website,
Okay. Mm,
raving hyphen
mm,
fans, raving
okay.
hyphen fans. And
Mm,
you can hear some of my clients sharing it in video
mm,
or them.
mm,
But one that comes to mind is Lane. And with Lane, she's called the QuickBooks Doctor. When we were first working together, she was growing organically. Even though she had a niche, she had clients outside of that niche, and
mm,
she had pretty low fees, and she wasn't using her staff effectively. And there were some
mm,
staff members that she didn't really trust the
mm,
quality of their work, but she was
mm,
too afraid to
mm,
let them go. So
mm,
we worked on how to be able to shift from a time-based pricing over to value-based pricing. We
mm,
focused on the 5 steps in my Raise Your Rates formula, which is
mm.
understanding who her ideal quality clients were. For her, they were people in the entertainment industry. Those were
Okay.
her clients.
Mm,
And then how to communicate the value. So she had the words to be able to explain to them why she was a great solution to them because she was focusing
mm,
on what was top of mind for them and the benefits of engaging her services.
mm.
The third thing we did together was packaging her services. So we were
Okay.
separating her fees from time now. The
Mm,
fourth thing was value pricing her services so she was earning more than when she was doing time-based fees. And then the fifth step in the Raise Your Rates formula is consultation mastery. This is
okay.
where you know how to lead someone through an initial consultation, or if you're looking at raising a legacy client to your new fees, how to be able to have that conversation. in order to
mm,
be able to have them see the value of moving forward with you and your firm. As
mm,
a result of Lane going through those 5 steps,
mm,
she was able to actually become a first-time home buyer. So she bought her
mm.
first home.
Oh,
She
wow.
paid off she paid off all of her credit card debt, which
Oh,
was
wow.
very significant, and she paid off her car. This was all in 12 months' time. So I
That's
just wanna
phenomenal.
say
That's
and
phenomenal.
it gave she started offshoring, so I wanna
Mm,
be able to, share that, and
mm,
also it gave her time back. Towards the end of our work together, a family member needed some extra attention from her, and she was able to be able to take some time away from her work to be able to, give to that person and help them out, but her team, offshore was able to keep everything going and operational, and her
fantastic.
clients never realized that she
Mm,
wasn't working as many hours as before. So
yeah.
so that's just an example, and Lane shares her
Mm,
story on my page
mm,
also. And I
mm,
have one more resource I'd like to share, if that's okay with you, Manoj.
yeah, yeah.
I was talking about the transition from hourly-based over to the value pricing with the good, better, best pricing model. I actually
Mm,
have a free resource that they can
mm,
go ahead and
mm,
download to implement. Do you
mm.
mind if I share
Okay.
that?
Mm, mm,
They could go to businesssuccesssolution.com/package, and they
mm.
can get the steps to get started on value
Sure.
pricing that I shared, as well as
Wow. Mm,
moving in the direction of packaging their services.
mm. And talk to a little more about what is that consultation mastery. Looks very interesting.
Oh, consultation mastery. Let's just face it. Selling is a dirty word when it comes to accounting and tax and bookkeeping. People don't like to sell. They don't want to be salesy. They don't want to pressure someone in the close as part the sales part and everything like that. You were meant to serve. And
And
what
in
I've
fact, the problem is they sell all the time, but they feel that I'm not good seller.
mm, and or they talk about their services and that they're not really talking about what the
Yeah.
client wants and needs. They
Mm,
think that they need to sell themselves and prove how smart they are during these initial
mm,
consultations, and then when it comes
mm,
time to talk about the close and the pricing, they
mm.
get a little flustered,
Yeah. Mm,
and they're negotiating, they're discounting, they're not talking about it whatsoever. So they make
mm,
some mistakes because they learn so much about business, but they don't teach about sales in most business
mm,
departments when you're
mm,
going to school,
mm,
which I think is
mm,
a misservice. So what I talk
mm,
about is how to have a value conversation
mm,
instead of talking about how good your services are and everything you can do for them. You want to have a conversation that helps you to understand what it is that the client wants to achieve, what are some of their
mm,
concerns now, what are the
mm,
benefits of achieving that result, and
mm,
how you can be able to help them achieve that. So you
mm,
want to once again flip the conversation from being
mm,
focused on you, similar to time-based
mm.
pricing, to
Yeah.
really being aligned with
Mm,
being client-centered and focusing on the client and what is top of mind and of value to them, and then educating them about how you might be able to help them achieve that result. So
mm,
that
mm,
is consultation mastery, is how to be able to have those initial consultations, as well as bringing your legacy clients up to your new rates and mastering that conversation too.
Yeah, that's fantastic. In fact, I'll have one more deep dive session only on consultation mastery. Maybe we can have a webinar for our customers. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll do that. Yeah, because this is just brilliant. So, and much needed, because any change you need to do, whether it's offshoring or whether it is
Mhm.
new technology or workflows, setting up of new workflows or pricing, everything starts with the mindset. So
Mhm.
unless you have that mindset of change, most of the firm owners just struggle to do that.
Mhm. I would
They,
like to share some statistics
yeah, yeah.
regarding offshoring. So with offshoring, let me just make sure this is from the Journal of Accountancy.
Mm,
25% of US accounting firms right now offshore to India, South America, Philippines, other places. They're using
mm,
offshore staffing solutions. There's going to be an
mm,
additional 12% of firms starting to offshore over the next
mm,
12 months. So
mm.
it is happening. This is a reality. We
Yeah,
don't have borders any longer. You want to hire the
yeah.
best person for the position,
Mm,
not the one
mm,
that lives closest to you.
mm,
Um, the other thing that I have two more statistics.
mm.
CPA Practice Advisor said that AI is supposed to be doubling over the next year.
Absolutely.
It's
Mm,
currently at 39%. It's going to
mm,
go up to 80% within the next
mm,
12 months. And then my
mm,
last stat is
mm,
Thomas Reuters did a
mm,
survey. Nearly
mm,
half, 48% of accounting firms already value price
mm,
their services. An additional
mm,
18% are going to implement this by year end. So,
mm, mm,
this isn't just talk, this is actually happening. And
mm.
don't wait. You're going to get left behind.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
you're going to be stressed out because you're going to have FOMO. Everybody else is
Mm,
doing it and you're not doing
mm.
it. And it's going to affect your firm as well as your livelihood.
Yeah. And since we spoke about this, Lauren, so let me ask you this: what is the role of branding um, in terms of attracting the high value or maybe the premium clients? Because once you move to a value-based pricing, you want to
Mhm.
sell more of diamonds, as you said. So the third
Mhm.
category, right? So how do you do that? How do you attract them? How do you build that brand?
Well, it means that you don't want to be a best kept secret any longer. That's the first thing. And
Okay.
and the thing to recognize is that many firm owners tend to be more of an introvert than an
Mm,
extrovert. I'm an
mm,
introvert also. I just want to say that.
mm.
You might not think that I'm an introvert
Ah,
also. I do
mm,
better in these one-on-one conversations, small groups. When you
mm,
take me to a conference that has 5,000 people, it's overwhelming for me.
mm,
Um,
mm,
so introverts network and brand a little bit differently than extroverts do.
mm,
And you need to
mm,
find your style. But
mm,
what you want to do is realize that you don't always need to have a web presence in order to be
mm,
able to
mm,
build a very high quality level of
mm,
client in your firm. And
mm,
you don't need to be all over social media. You can
mm,
have those things, but I've had clients
mm,
that haven't had websites and they
mm.
have really solid six-figure bookkeeping
Oh,
businesses.
mm,
So what I do want to say is that you need to shift how you talk and your messaging. And that
okay.
is the core solution.
Mm,
Instead of talking about tasks and
mm,
price competition, that
mm,
attracts price
mm,
shoppers. So what you
mm,
want to talk about is the solutions that you offer and who you serve. If you
mm,
serve a particular segment or type of client you work best with,
mm,
get really clear on stepping into their shoes. What's going on for
mm,
them? What is it that they
mm,
want and what's important
mm,
to them? So start
mm,
talking about things that appeal to them to grab
mm,
their attention. And
mm,
that way you're going to start uh, attracting those right clients to you, whether it's at a networking event, social media,
mm,
what you post to your
mm,
website. But the other
mm,
part is looking at referral relationships. Who is
mm,
it that also works with a similar type of client and
mm,
that you might want to educate them about who you serve and the solutions that you offer them? Because
mm,
people like making those connections. It makes them look good to their clients. It helps them serve
mm.
their clients better too when
Sure.
they make a
Mm.
qualified connection.
I've seen that many of the firm owners feel shy about asking a referrals. How do you break that mindset?
Well, I believe the golden rule of marketing is give before you get.
Mm,
And if you are shy about asking for one, then come with the mindset of how you can help that other person first.
mm,
Because there is something called the law of reciprocity. If you do
mm.
something good for someone else, that person's going to want to
They
return the
respond.
favor.
Yeah. Mm, mm,
So maybe instead of thinking about what that person can do for me, come with
mm.
the mindset of meeting people and thinking about how you
Very
can
good.
help
Yeah.
them first.
Mm, yeah, that's great. Yeah. And, whatever could be your target audience, so how um, do you see any specific way in which a firm owners could start targeting that customer segment that they are looking at?
Mhm. I I want to share that this is a process. It was a process for me also, and it was a
Mm,
long, drawn out process. I've been
mm,
doing this business coaching since
mm,
2009. And
mm,
in the beginning, I worked with a wide range of businesses.
mm.
And this was more like peeling the onion, the layers from the onion, where I
Yeah.
became aware of who I didn't want to work with. There were certain
Mm,
industries I didn't want to work with, and there were certain
mm,
personalities that I don't work best with
mm,
also. So it
mm,
had uh, awareness first of who I didn't want to work with.
mm,
And from that, I realized I work best with service-based business owners.
mm, mm,
And among those, I started looking at who was coming to me, who did I work best with, are there any
mm,
personality fits? And as far as personality fit, it's going to be one of two things. Either you're going
mm,
to work best with personalities that are similar to you, or you're going to
mm,
work best with personalities that are opposite of you.
mm,
For me,
mm,
it was personalities actually that were opposite of me that I
mm,
worked best with.
mm,
And from that, I looked at the different industries I was working with.
mm,
And for many years, Manoj, I was going between people in marketing and people that were in accounting and tax. And I liked both because they were, it gave me variety, which made it
mm,
interesting for me.
mm,
But what I found was that it was diluting my message, trying to appeal to two different markets that had some very different needs.
mm,
So I decided that out of the two, the accounting and tax was a better fit for me, and I
mm,
moved in that direction. But it took me maybe 2 to 3 years of straggling between the 2 before I made the switch over to accounting and tax.
mm,
And I will say that once I made the leap over to that particular niche,
mm.
it actually made things easier, not
Yeah,
harder,
yeah.
because I was
Mm,
able to get really focused on who
mm,
I served,
mm,
what conferences
mm,
I needed to go to,
mm,
what their concerns were, how I could serve them
mm,
at even a higher level. And
mm.
pricing was always my thing. So,
Good.
and they needed help with the pricing. So I knew how to
Mm.
handhold them through the process so
Sure.
that they
Mm,
can implement it because
mm,
it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and
mm.
some people need more hand-holding than others. So that's where the sports
Right.
psychology comes in, is the mindset
Yeah.
part that needs to
Mm,
change. But it
yeah.
took me, you know,
Journey.
6,
Yeah.
7 years, and oh,
Mm,
and I wanna share that even when I made the decision to niche with the accounting and
mm,
tax, it took
mm.
another 18 months or so before I changed everything on
Oh.
my website
Mm,
to reflect
mm,
that.
mm,
So it
mm.
was a process for me also, and each
Yeah.
step,
Yeah.
took some time before I implemented it, but once I
Mm,
did, it made things so much easier.
yeah. 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 So, Lauren, you have been speaking to a lot of these accounting firm owners, and so what do you think? What are the big picture trends, coming in the next 5 years as far as the accounting industry is concerned?
As far as 5 years go, I don't have that crystal ball, And
Okay,
and
3 years.
what I have found for myself, I don't like doing 5-year projections, that's just me,
Mm,
is
mm,
that 5 years is so far off, and that as you're moving in that direction, things change along the way, and
yeah.
sometimes they
Mm,
change your course
mm, mm,
because of
mm,
awareness that you just didn't have in the beginning. But what I believe is that if you don't start to adapt with looking at staffing solutions, looking at becoming more efficient and separating your fees from time, then you're going to go the same path as Blockbuster did,
mm.
where they saw the signs too early. Borders Bookstore is another one, Kodak Film, where they saw the signs too late
Yeah.
and they
Hmm.
adapted too late and they couldn't
Hmm.
ever recover that
Yeah.
momentum because they lagged
Yes.
behind.
Yeah.
So, what I want to say is that this is happening. I just gave you some statistics on
Hmm.
offshore solutions,
Hmm.
software solutions, and value pricing. This is
Hmm.
happening.
Hmm.
Don't be Blockbusters, Kodak, or Borders bookstore. Go
Hmm.
ahead and start to make these changes. If you don't know how to make them now, then go ahead and find someone that can help you implement those solutions. You don't need
Hmm.
to know how to do it yourself. Just find someone that you connect with that you feel
Hmm.
will help you successfully move in this direction. And
Hmm.
then look at things over a 12-month period. Because for me, I like 12 months.
Hmm.
It's far enough in the
Hmm.
future that I need to really challenge myself, but it's not
Yeah.
so far where it feels like a pie in the sky and just a
Hmm.
dream that
Hmm.
maybe I'll achieve it, maybe I won't. So 12 months
Hmm.
for me is a really nice milestone
Yeah.
that I can put the effort into and know that I ought to be able to get a return on my investment.
Yeah. Great. So it was great talking to you, Lauren. And before we close, maybe one final question
Mhm.
is, what is that your one final advice to the people who are stuck in a grind? Uh, you know, maybe they're not able to scale, or they are not able to grow, or not able to come out of the shell of
Mhm.
their own mindset. What is that one final piece of advice you'll give them?
Moving this direction takes courage, not confidence. The confidence comes as you start to get results. What
Mm,
I have seen with my clients that are moving this direction of being able to value price and package their services, between
mm,
82 to 100% of the clients will transition over to their new pricing. And it is possible to double your income, your
mm,
revenues, and reduce your workload. So this
mm,
is possible. This is what I'm devoted to. I know that you are dedicated to your clients. You work really, really hard. You
mm,
deserve to have a firm that raises your quality of life instead of one that
mm,
sucks the life out of you. And if that
mm.
sounds like something you're ready to do, let's have a conversation about how to get that done now instead of still thinking
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, great. So thank you so much, Lauren. It was fun to talk to you, and I think I learned a lot, in terms of your customer stories, and especially, when you said that, how did you find a niche? That was way too interesting, right? It was a process in itself, but I think every firm owners or everybody in business life has to sometime, go through that moment, right? Go through that process to figure
Mm-hmm.
out what are your the key areas, what is your trigger to growth, and I think that's really valuable and very, very important. So thank you for being here with us on Smart Outsourcing Talks. It was lovely speaking to you.
Thank you so much, Manoj. I appreciate the opportunity to share.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day and a great week ahead. Take care.